Okay, so I went into a different room to record the last part, which was a terrible decision because the acoustics were horrible. And it just sounded echoey and nasty and shit. So I'm just gonna keep going. Okay, so Bigger Tail, they thought it was tiny, and his owner was not exactly happy at all. Oh, screw it! It was Lucario, glowing intensely, and ready to kill the 3 Pokemon. Okay. He took the rope and he detached it from his tail. Detached it. Whatever. He threw it at the 3 Pokemon and then he swung them with the rope above him. They screamed in terror when Lucario stopped, throwing them away from him. Lucario stopped glowing and he returned to the base to sleep. I mean, if Gengar's a ghost, couldn't he just, like, phase through the rope or something? You know, like, I don't know. And he returned to the base to sleep. When he entered, he saw Chris shivering a little. He sat in his place again, and he wrapped his left arm around Chris's body to stop the shivering. Eventually, Chris stopped shivering, and he smiled. Still sleeping, Lucario smiled, and he fell asleep again. Second try. Invisible Riolu napping. Here's the next plan. I'll become invisible, and then I'll slowly walk without making any noise, and then bingo! We got that kid without any effort. Gengar whispered to his teammates. He became invisible, and he started to walk slowly inside the base. He was sweating a lot when he entered. Even if he saw invisible, he was sweating. One false move, and he could wake up above the clouds with a harp and a halo above his head. He gulped silently after approaching slowly to Chris. Darn it, he is below his arm, the ghost Pokemon thought to himself. It was now getting harder now, since Chris was wrapped by the left arm of Lucario. The only way to get him out was by pulling him out as slow as possible, or else he would probably die if he fails. Without thinking it anymore, he slightly grabbed the arm and slowly unwrapped the Riolu from it. It was almost unwrapped completely. For his luck, he did it, and Gengar sighed to himself inside his mind. He grabbed Chris without making any noise at all, and he did it again. He was now holding the sleeping Riolu, Chris. Phew, that was close, he thought to himself with a relief. He turned his back, smirking at his idea, until mysteriously he was blasted off out of the base without Chris in his grasp. He crashed into a faraway tree just in the front of the base, then he was visible again. What? How could that happen? He thought furiously to himself. Ekans and Medicham walked to him. Hey, why did I crash into this tree without any reason? He yelled, whispering to his teammates. Ekans was shaking, terrified. What? Gengar asked. Inside the base, Lucario had his right hand stretched in front of him, but oddly enough, he was still asleep, but he was defending Chris while he was still sleeping. Chris laid in the floor, still sleeping. Lucario, who was still sleeping, grabbed Chris and he placed him below his left arm again. No, don't take him away from me, or you will die, he said, still sleeping. Stop saying that. Still sleeping, or rather dreaming. Now back with Team Meanies. Why do you need... He's put it in italics. Now back with Team Meanies, like, to mark the shift in perspective. Why is that necessary? Because it's just one line of dialogue, and then it's another plan. Alright. No way! He even defends him while he sleeps? Gengar said, shocked. Both Pokemon nodded. Grr! He is getting on my nerves now! Third try, Mission Impossible style. It says Mission Impossible theme. Fuck you. Here's the next plan, Gengar whispered, explaining the next plan above the base. No shit, with Ekans and Medicham. This is fucking hilarious. We will kidnap him by the roof, by the hole Ekans made with his acid. I thought Medicham would be the one with acid. Haha! By the hole Ekans made with his acid. By the hole Ekans made with his acid. We will use the same rope from before, and Medicham will be tied to it, and he will descend to grab that kid while me and Ekans pulls. You got it? Got it. Medicham whispered and sang at the same time. He was ready to go now. He entered the base by the hole Ekans made before, when he was descending slowly above both Aura Pokemon. The other two didn't got any trouble pulling Medicham down through the hole. Well, they're not really pulling, whatever, lowering. And surely if he was, like, putting acid through the ceiling, wouldn't it cause damage to the people down below? It could wake someone up, couldn't it? I don't know. Maybe he was very careful with the amount he administered. When Medicham was just directly above Chris, he saw him below the arm again, but this time he wasn't wrapped up in it. Medicham's luck was getting bigger when Lucario moved away a little, but enough to grab Chris without touching the steel Pokemon. Grrr! Medicham's eyes widened when he heard a noise coming from the sleeping Aura Pokemon. He turned his head, but luckily it was only a noise he made randomly. He sighed in his mind, and he was about to grab Chris when... Grrr! Again, the same noise came from Lucario, but he was still sleeping. This time, however, he was showing his fangs, which intimidated Medicham a lot. He continued on his mission to kidnap the Emanation Pokemon. Oh, what the fuck is that? Alright, I guess that's a nickname for Riolu, the Emanation Pokemon, and run from the base as soon as possible until... Grrr! The same noise came from Lucario again. He was now showing his fangs completely, and since Medicham had a perfect vision, he saw his reflection in Lucario's fangs, and now he was too terrified. Heck, he could even be more terrified than a Togepi. Is that Misty's egg Pokemon? I don't know. I think it is. I think it's Misty's egg Pokemon, but I shan't distract with any more looking up. More terrified than a Togepi, but he shook his head and grabbed Chris without any problems. Phew, he sighed inside his mind. He sighed inside his mind, sorry. Gengar and Ekans saw the whole act, and he pulled Medicham out of the base, slowly, of course. No, of course. No, that's right, actually. Why am I correcting him for something he did right to begin with? Correctly, I mean. Shit, I can't speak now. This fucking story is rubbing off on me. Until Medicham did something stupid. I won't do this again ever in my life, he said in his mind. He rubbed his forehead from the sweating he was making. But that was the stupid thing, because a sweat drop was falling just above Lucario. When the drop came in contact with the tip of his nose, he quickly woke up and used a fast and strong jab in Medicham's face. I thought he was on the roof. He dropped Chris in the process, and he blasted off to the sky, with Gengar and Ekans, since their legs were accidentally tied up with the rope. Well, that's convenient. Lucario catched the sleeping Chris, and he placed him again below his arm. Then he smiled, and he fell asleep again. Fourth try. Hole below the target. Oh my god, more of these, fuck's sake.